Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Badfish and this is Gone Gaming. Welcome back to the city of San Pedro, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the city of San Pedro. It is my current ongoing West Coast American inspired Cities Skylines project. I focus on time-lapse detailed builds. Typically post like 3 or 4 times a week, so definitely check out my channel if that's something that interests you. Definitely consider subscribing if you like what you see. But today, what we are going to be doing, guys, I realize there is another major issue with our city right now, and that is a extreme lack of healthcare. Bernie Sanders would be very upset with us. So what we're doing today is building an absolutely massive health center that is going to be kind of in the smack dab of our major city. So I wanted to kind of put it towards this more residential side that we're building out right now. Obviously, if you saw the last episode, it's more like a midtown. You'll see me build it out a little bit in this episode too. But it is, yeah, you can kind of see it right there. It's going to kind of continue this motif right here. So it's more of a midtown. I wanted to put the big health center out here. That way it's not like, oh, they needed to clear a bunch of land to make this health center in the middle of the downtown. It's a little bit further out. So that way we could still have some size to it and have some fun with the grounds itself. So just fleshing out the surrounding neighborhood a little bit here. I do a little bit more of that off camera. There is going to be a few jumps. There's going to be one right here in this time lapse, and that's just because it's just different detailing I was doing that didn't pertain to the build itself. So now we're just going to be adding in parking lots. So parking lots are going to be a big part of this build, big space filler. And you need a ton of parking for hospitals. You know, you got patients coming in and out. You got people who stay for long periods of time, so you need long-term parking. I could have even put a parking garage in there now that I'm thinking about it literally right now, but, you know, that was a lost opportunity. Oh well. So I'm just going to flesh out these parking lots a little bit, make them a little bit bigger. And then from here, just putting down the decals. I am going to do a little bit of a jump so you don't have to watch me just put down a bunch of decals on parking lots, because it is very much the same work on each one. So it's just going around, making sure they look good with the decals, going on to the next one, so on and so forth. I will show you a couple of them though, just to get the gist of what we're doing here. These parking lots are really cool. They're the workable or the working parking lots off the workshop, so they actually work in game. People will go and park to them. Sometimes people will fly through stuff to park to them, but hey, you know, it is what it is. So they work fine for what they do. And also I'm just using Move It and stuff like that to make things line up a little bit better. I realize that a lot of people who might be watching my videos might not be well versed with mods. If that's the case, I've talked to a few people like that. I can certainly make like a video just going over some of the mods I use. If that's interesting to anybody, let me know down below. Because that's something I could definitely do. I mean, I've only been trying to do super detailed builds for a little while now. Like, you know, if you've watched my videos before, I was playing on a really crappy like 5-year-old laptop up until about a month ago. So you know, the mod work I do is not extensive or crazy, so it's pretty easy to pick up. So if you're interested in making stuff that looks like this, you know, I could definitely make a video that goes over my process at least. Obviously, I'm not a pro in any way, shape, or form, but if that does interest you, let me know. So now, just continuing to flesh out the surrounding neighborhoods. I'm not going to keep a ton of this neighborhood work in just because, again, it is very repetitive, but it's just scrolling through the assets, finding what works, and then plopping it down. That's basically the plan. And now we're going to start some landscaping. So I'm trying to make my landscaping more shrubbery focused and tree focused now. So I have a couple different shrub packs. I'm using these two to just kind of paint down right now, and I actually find a third one that's a little bit bigger, has a little bit bigger undergrowth, so I use that one kind of sparingly in it as well, and then I go through and add the trees. So I'm really trying to not use as many trees as I was, but I also wanted to keep like a good amount of green space to this build as well, so I am using a good amount of trees just to have them be able to you know, have that green space to cut it away from the rest of the city itself. I wanted to kind of have the health center back away a little bit, so that way, you know, the noise of the city isn't confronting the people in their hospital rooms. And then, of course, just putting down some more like congregation spaces. So these are important anywhere, but I think doubly so for a health center. You know, people are going to want to get outside for walks and things like that. Certainly doctors on their breaks aren't going to want to just be in the hospital the whole time. So I wanted to make sure they had a cool place to take a lunch or just to go get a coffee and hang out. So I'm just going to do a very simple kind of landscaping deal here. Basically just a couple circles around the fountains, lines connecting them, and then some bushes in between. Again, you know, nothing crazy, just a simple little flower pattern just to make it look a little bit more interesting than, you know, just a couple fountains on some grass. But again, I think just adding these small little details just adds so much to a space. And right here, you're going to see me use one of those mods I was talking about, which is Move It. That is probably the mod I use the most. And all I'm going to do is, once I have this whole thing set up, which should be just in a second after I add a couple trees here, I'm going to use the drag and click option to make a box, grab everything, copy it, and just shift it over to the other side. So that way I don't have to go through and make the whole thing again. And it makes my life easy. And then just adding some benches along this big, corporate office, doctor's office building here. I think it was like a rehab center is what it was called. So I'm assuming a lot of PT goes on there, a lot of physical therapy. And then just putting the parking lots for my doctor's offices in. So again, these might be a little too close where that glass jut out is, but if you just saw real quick there, I did use a car to see if a car could fit in that space, and it could. So don't go hating on me too much. A car can fit there. It's just going to be tight. But if you've ever parked in the real world, you know people make some crappy parking lots out there. So it's not just me. So don't just blame me. Please don't just blame me. And now we're going to jump over to another little bit of detailing for some detail on the main hospital. We are just going to add in a couple planters and then like a little fountain area just for, again, congregation space and just to break up the concrete. Again, I said this last episode, and I probably will say this every episode I film. With the concrete, like, it's fine, but I hate when there's just big swaths of it and nothing else going on. I either need decals or just detail in general. So I wanted to add this fountain in just to add that little bit of congregation space for this big hospital, make it a little bit different than just having a couple planters and benches down. I thought it was just fun to do a little fountain work. I don't really play with fountains too much in these kind of spaces, so I thought it was just a nice little addition and something different for me. And then just putting some hedges around it for fun, just to make it, again, look a little prettier, have it be a little nicer, look like a place that you'd want to take your lunch or have a coffee in. And of course putting the benches around it, and we'll put some trash cans in too, just to keep with realism if we can, as much as we can. And everybody's yelling at me about water, so I fixed that in a little bit and add some pipes. And finally, I realized I wanted to add like a parking lot space for like ambulances and things like that, and just healthcare vehicles in general on the healthcare center. So I go ahead, fence this little bit in, and I got this thing. It was the EMS pack, I believe, or the Sky Vehicles pack. I forget which one. I believe it was the EMS pack, but it has a ton of different medical vehicles in it. And of course we have some of these more vanilla ambulances as well. So I put a couple of those down, then I realized I have all these other ones, and I go to town with those. So you'll see there's like 7 or 8 different variants. I don't know, it's really nice. So it was really good for this kind of build where I wanted to have this parking lot, just to be able to have a ton of different variation in what I can put in. I tried to keep the spacing as realistic as I could. I think it turned out okay. It's a little tight maybe, so I might have to go in and swap that around a little bit. You know, let me know what you guys think. It might be a little bit tight for some of these trucks though. But all in all, I really enjoyed this space. I really enjoyed making it and having all these different things lined up. I think it looks really nice. And then I just put the helicopter on top because you need that. But I think it looked really nice being able to have all the variation. From afar, it kind of looks like a U-Haul a lot, which is funny. Just because they do look like U-Hauls a little bit, except for the vanilla ones. And then I'm just adding in some gurneys and like some medical supplies. So when they need to take one out, they have their stuff right there to pop into it. And now I'm taking care of the pipes so people stop yelling at me, because I hate those blips. I hate them so much. And then a couple more planters. So really right now we're just adding in like our superfluous detailing. We're just adding in trees and landscaping and things. Most of the main bits of detail, like the congregation spaces and the main bits of landscaping, are pretty much done. I do go ahead and just add in like these little planters, which is a consistent theme right now through this part of the town, is having these planters with the trees in them. I did it in the neighborhoods as well, which I'll show off in the live play in just a second. But I thought it looked nice. I thought it had, again, just a nice little bit of detail, nice little touch to it. And finally, we are going to go in and add in decals. I finally remembered to do my decals last, guys, so be proud of me. If you don't know, when you put down huge decals like this, it is a pain in the butt to move anything on top of it, any props, anything. So decals last is a lesson I have learned through doing San Pedro, but we're just adding in like cracks and scuffs and stains. I really like these filled in cracks next to the ones that aren't filled in yet, but that is just gonna about do it for the build. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna let the music play out. I'll see you on the other side. Alright guys, well that is gonna do it for today's build, so I hope you enjoyed it. I know our Sims definitely did. Now they actually have a place to go and use their insurance. But I wanted to take you through some of the stuff I did on camera and some of the stuff I did off camera, just so you can kind of see everything together a little bit in a live play before we jump into those cinematics. So we're gonna scroll out a little bit from the actual medical center first and just kind of see how the town's shaping up, or the city's shaping up. So I did start building out the city a little bit more, just adding a couple more neighborhoods. Started doing some like very dense, low density residential over here. That'll extend back through here a bit. I didn't want it to all be like this concrete jungle. So we're gonna kind of switch over to more very high density as we get closer down here. We'll probably continue on with this kind of building at least to about like up here though. And basically just same kind of thing, just spreading buildings throughout. I am gonna start doing on some of the different blocks these trees like I did last episode, so just kind of going through and adding these planters. So I think it came out pretty good. As far as the health center, I'm very happy with the health center. So, you know, let's say you're driving through town, you know, and you spontaneously break your foot. It just spontaneously breaks in half. Don't know how it happened, but you need some help. So we got this great university hospital asset. I think it's like the most popular, the second most popular if you go all time under healthcare on the workshop. It has an awesome bridge kind of stretching over the road here. I like that a lot. Also, if I didn't say it earlier in the episode, shout out to asset creators. You guys make my life so much easier. I can't do what you do, and I am constantly in awe of the stuff you guys make. So thank you very much. So yeah, you got that little university hospital, kind of like what I consider the main hospital, I guess, the general hospital right here with the little, you know, congregation fountain and just some added decoration around it. I really like this, like filled in cracks mixed with like the regular cracks and the concrete and stuff, and you know, little tiny helicopter on top. Children's hospital, I absolutely love this asset. I think it's just has so much detail and it's beautiful. I don't know where it's based off of, but I'm sure they did a great job recreating it because it looks awesome down to the ads on it, or not that, well yeah, they're ads. So I really enjoy that, and the way it lights up at night is awesome too. Of course, we got these little congregation areas right on either side of it that turned out really nice. And then this big monstrosity of a building, this might be too big, I realize that, but you know, I don't mind it. I think it looks nice, so we're gonna leave it. But this, in my mind, is more, it's doctors' offices still, but also maybe like corporate doctors and things like that. So you have, you know, the big sports arena over there, so a professional team plays out of that. Maybe this is part of the team doctors. We're gonna have a lot of big businesses and stuff. Maybe this is part of their health staff. Who knows, but it's all part of the health park. So that's just my headcanon behind it. I like the building. I'm glad that it lights up. I thought it didn't for a little while, and it was very dark at night, but it did light up. So I enjoy it. I think it looks nice, especially with the reflections and stuff coming off of it. And then, you know, down here, these are just normal little doctor's offices in my mind, with like a little health center over here. So if, you know, you're not looking for urgent stuff, or if you're just going for your checkup, this is kind of where you do that. And obviously having the parking lots kind of all throughout it is pretty realistic too. And these will start filling up as we get more people through here. And then the last thing we'll take a look at is just this cool little lot of ambulances, ambulance-I. Well, it's definitely ambulances, but ambulance-I is a more fun way to say it. And, you know, just gurneys and stuff. Would they actually like have these outside? Probably not, but in my mind is a lot of these are getting shipped out right now, so people have to come in, grab the medical EMS stuff, pop it in one, take it out. Might be a little overfilled, but honestly I think most of these cars could get out if they needed to. You just gotta move a couple gurneys. And in my mind too, it's like these ones are going first. Maybe they cycle through them. I don't know. Even though the only active ones we technically have are these ones, but it's fine. So that's gonna do it for the build, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below. I really appreciate that. Definitely check out my channel too if you enjoy Skylines content. I post 3 or 4 videos a week. All of them are, you know, just as detailed, or at least I hope so, just as detailed as this video. But if you did enjoy it, definitely leave that thumbs up, check out the channel, consider subscribing. But we're gonna jump into some cinematics to round things out. So enjoy those, guys, and I will see you on the next episode.